Hello and welcome to Focus on Europe on Channel 2 News. My name is Adam Richardson. Our top stories. A stray Syrian anti-aircraft missile has hit a mountainside in Northern Cyprus, sparking a massive fire. The EU has been split over top jobs and have forced suspension of talks about who gets what. Thousands of people in the Spanish capital Madrid have been protesting for and against opposing a car ban for the entire city. And also, on our 6th day of special coverage about the heatwave that's nevertheless plaguing the continent at the moment, we're visiting Italy, where Italian authorities have already placed 16 cities under high alert for dangerous temperatures. Our correspondent Roberto Garabia is there. And in sport, Germany have suffered a shock Women's World Cup exit after losing a 2-1 match against Sweden. Welcome to today's Focus on Europe from Channel 2 News. We start today's programme in Cyprus, where a stray anti-aircraft missile has hit a mountainside north of the country's capital, Nicosia, which is about 285 kilometres, which is the equivalent of 140 miles away from the Syrian coast. It happened overnight and struck the self-declared Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus and caused a massive fire. Officials have said. It was believed to have been Russian-made and was thought to have been launched during Israeli airstrikes on Syria. Let's get more of this story now from our Turkey correspondent, Adam Simpson. And Adam, quite a rare occurrence for such a peaceful country.
Well, it is a rare occurrence for such a peaceful country because, like you said, Adam, normally this sort of thing would happen in the war zone itself, which in this case is Syria. And so maybe it is a freak accident almost, if you call it that perhaps. But yes, it is a no rare occurrence. And so yeah, very rare.
Okay, and I just wanted to hear from you what the president of Northern Cyprus has said about this scenario, because I imagine a sense of shock, confusion.
Well, the president of the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus, which is, as you know, the Turkish part of Cyprus, has said that, this is one of the bad consequences of war in the region, as in the Middle East. And I think generally here, whereas they were in that part of Cyprus, maybe even the whole country itself was like, this sort of thing happened today. We didn't expect it to happen, and like he said, this thing would happen in the war zone itself, like in Syria, and it's sort of like that case where you sort of expect it to happen there, not in a peaceful country such as Cyprus. I think there's just generally a lot of shock, whether that be from the president himself of Northern Cyprus or the citizens of Northern Cyprus or the whole country itself. So yeah, I think a very generic sort of shocked response. So yeah.
And just talk us through the situation that is going on in Syria at the moment. For viewers who may not know what the current reality on the ground is like there, just take us through that, if you would.
So basically, Syria has been in a state of civil war since 2011 following the mass protests and riots that happened there during the Arab Spring. And that sort of happened in the early years, let's say from 2011 to 2013 for instance. Then even worse, because the so-called terrorist group Islamic State had come to Syria, Iraq as well, but come to Syria too, and they launched almighty but awful ground offensives, causing thousands of migrants to flee, hence causing partly the migrant crisis that we've been seeing all across this area in Cyprus and Greece, Turkey and all the other places in Europe. And there has also been fighting that's happened since then as well. So yes, that is what has been going on in Syria itself.
Okay, Adam, we'll have to leave it there, I'm afraid. I'd love to go on about, the story behind world affairs and everything, but we're going to have to leave it there, I'm afraid. Thank you very much for that. Adam Simpson there, our Turkey correspondent, on that rare occurrence in Northern Cyprus. Now to Brussels, where the EU has apparently split over so-called top jobs, have forced suspension of talks about who gets what in a new EU jobs hierarchy. Well, here's a report now by our Brussels correspondent, Baron Onrup, about the ongoing scenario. It may have been all smiles at first, but there was disagreement. Why? Because there was a political row between EU leaders over who gets what scenario over the new EU top jobs. Besides this, many questions arose. Who will get EU Commission President? Who will get EU Council President? The list goes on. But there are concerns. Both German Chancellor Angela Merkel and French President Emmanuel Macron apparently said choosing a candidate was more complicated than ever because the recent May European Union elections had ended the traditional centre-left and centre-right dominance of EU politics. This is what Germany's Chancellor Angela Merkel had to say about the situation. As things are going, discussions won't be very easy, to put it mildly. Anyhow, the European Parliament, with two big fractions, is fixing on the principle of top candidates, and yet the biggest force, the European People's Party, has no majority in the European Parliament. And so European Council President Donald Tusk will have a difficult task today, and will try to be constructive. The Rare Summit, which happened on Sunday, was called because EU leaders failed on 20th of June to agree on candidates to replace the current members of the highest ranking jobs of the European Parliament. They want a European Council President to replace Donald Tusk, a High Representative for Foreign Policy to replace Federica Mogherini, European Parliament President and European Central Bank President. But things have to be done carefully. The choices depend on having to take account of the elections and must achieve an acceptable balance regarding how big or small European states are, gender and geography matters. The European Parliament wants the leaders to stick to the Spitzenkandidat, which is the lead candidate procedure that was launched in 2014, under the idea that those of which who got nominated by the most successful parties in the elections receive the top posts. But President Macron is among those opposing the EPP's Manfred Weber and a Spitzenkandidat initiative. Politicians in Poland, Hungary and Romania, meanwhile, decide the way Mr. Timmermans, a Brussels political veteran, has enforced the EU rule of law policy, with Hungary's government spokesman Zoltan Kovács treating that appointing Mr. Timmermans to the top EU job was completely unacceptable. The top EU appointments, especially for EU Commission Chief, indicate not only national rivalries, but also those between the European Council and the European Parliament, which is the only directly elected EU institution. Mr. Macron stressed the importance of the need to nominate 2 men and 2 women for the 4 key posts, the 5th being parliamentary president, which is in the majority. in the hands of MEPs. Also, how the post determined and what roles do they play? Well, the EU treaty said that government leaders, whom are the European Council, have to nominate a Commission President. Then MEPs vote on that candidate. The decision is made by qualified majority, that is, if 72% of member states vote in favour, which is 21 out of the 28, and those states represent at least 65% of the total EU population. But there's only so much time. Now, due to meet from the 15th to 18th of July for a session, when MEPs are to vote on the EU leaders nominee, who take office on 1st November. The European Council President, meanwhile, is to be elected by the Union's leaders by a qualified majority and should take office on 1st December. He or she would then chair the EU summits and steers the bloc's broad strategy, while the Commission deals with the fine details. The High Representative for Foreign Policy has run the EU's External Action Service, dealing with major challenges such as Iran's nuclear programme, peacekeeping in Kosovo, and interventions in Africa. So the pressure really is on, and the question really is, who will get what? Berin Onrup, Channel 2 News, Brussels.
Berin Onrup there, our Brussels correspondent, on the latest of those EU top job developments. Well, let's take a look at some other stories now happening and making news across the continent now.
Firstly to Italy, where a German captain of a charity ship has admitted that she has disobeyed rules not to dock in Italy because she fears for the lives of migrants on board the boat that she drove. Sea Watch 3 captain Carola Brackete apologised to the crew of the troll boat, but was arrested on Saturday. Meanwhile, the Italian Interior Minister Matteo Salvini has described this night as an act of war and called Miss Brackete a pirate and an outlaw. The Libyan warlord Khalifa Haftar has released 6 Turkish citizens who were detained in Libya by his forces,
according to Turkey's foreign ministry.
The ministry did not give details about when the men were first held, but had earlier said that General Haftar's forces would be a legitimate target if they failed to release the men. It comes just days after General Haftar's Libyan National Army threatened to attack Turkish targets over Turkey's support for the Libyan government. Thousands have marched in the Georgian capital Tbilisi for a 10th day of anti-Russia protests, calling for the resignation of the Georgian Interior Minister, who they have accused of using police violence against a group of protesters who tried to storm Parliament early in the month. Wildfires have devastated parts of Spain, with officials saying that more than 100 square kilometres of forest have been destroyed by record temperatures, and forcing many people to flee their homes. It started as a result of the current ongoing Europe-wide heatwave, with temperatures still expected to soar into next week. In the UK, one of the Tory leadership hopefuls, Jeremy Hunt, has set a 30th of September no-deal deadline for Brexit. However, his rival Boris Johnson has vowed to leave the EU come what may, by the original deadline of 31st October. Ireland has officially welcomed its new US Ambassador, Edward F. Crawford. He presented himself to Irish President Michael D. Higgins at a Dublin ceremony recently today. He is renowned for his philanthropy, entrepreneurship and passion of basketball and boxing. His parents emigrated from Ireland in the 1920s, and he said he felt deeply honoured by his appointment. And finally, if you thought electric cars were quiet, then think again, because a new rule imposed by the EU means that electric cars must make noise. Well, new electric vehicles across the EU will have to feature a noise-emitting device under a law that comes into force today. It follows concerns that low-emission vehicles are too quiet, putting pedestrians, especially those who are visually impaired, for example, at risk because they cannot be heard as they approach. And staying with cars, thousands of people in the Spanish capital Madrid have protested over a law which was recently imposed on lifting car bans. And while some were opposing it, others were for the new law, ruled by a newly elected Conservative mayor of the city. Well, its aim is to comply with the EU's clean air rules, and drivers who disobey the law could well get fined a good sum of money for it. Well, for more in-depth discussion now, we're joined by our Madrid correspondent, Jose Martinez. And Jose, first of all, may I ask, why was this new law even passed through anyway?
Well, first of all, like you said, Adam, this is a recent law imposed by the newly elected Conservative mayor of Madrid, and its aim is to comply with so-called EU clean air rules. And other major European cities have already done it, such as Milan, Stockholm, and even in London, near where you are, Adam. And so, what it does, well, what it's supposed to do rather, is to take away all cars that have diesel engines, and to replace them with more sustainable ways of travel that isn't car travel. So this can include walking, bicycling and so forth. And so basically what they're hoping to do is to make Madrid more like these other European cities, like the ones I just mentioned, to be more sustainable, and therefore it would be better for the planet. So that is the general idea.
Okay, and why, may I ask, have people both protested for it and against it?
Well, the reason why people in the city are protesting both for and against it, like you already pointed out there, Adam, is because it's extremely controversial. On the one hand, you've got people for it, so as if to say, yes, I do want to make the planet more sustainable, and last longer for future generations and so on, because it's like, I care for it and others, whereas on the other hand, you have got that group of people who are saying, this is Madrid, Spain, Europe even, how we know it, we like driving our little stay-outs around the city, go shopping with friends and eat out, and all that. So that is why, as I said, this is not only just a case of, oh look, here's a new law from the EU, why don't we do it and all that, but hold on, actually, it's a debatable issue, and moreover, a big controversy, because you have got those two sides that, are conflicting with each other, as if to say who is right, who is wrong, and what is the best decision for the city of Madrid and the people who live in it, and will the Spanish lifestyle be protected?
And finally, just tell me, has there been any reaction to or results as a cause of these protests?
Well, the only thing we know so far, Adam, is that drivers who break the law can get fined €90, which is the equivalent of £90. But that is all we know at the moment.
Okay, Josie, listen, we're going to have to leave it now, I'm afraid.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for giving us that discussion about the car protests in Madrid. Jose Martinez, there, our Madrid correspondent. Well, there's still a lot more to come on today's Focus on Europe. Still to come. Sport with Eric, including the start of the championships at Wimbledon. Hello, welcome back to Focus on Europe. I'm Adam Richardson. Here's a reminder of our top stories for you now. A stray Syrian anti-aircraft missile has hit Northern Cyprus, crashing into a mountainside and sparking a massive fire. And the EU talks over top jobs have been suspended over a big row over it. Now, within these past few days here on Focus on Europe, we've been looking, or have looked so far even, into the ongoing heatwave that's been affecting much of the continent at the moment. Been seeing special features about it. And if I say on 6 different countries, and indeed people. Well, on our 6th day of special coverage, we're in Italy with Roberto Garabia. So let's take a look now at the Italian side of his story. Have a listen. I'm here in the Fontana di Trevi, the Trevi Fountain, one of Rome's most famous landmarks and popular tourist attractions, on a very hot summer's day during this current European heatwave. But how are Italians responding to this change of climate? Well, let's find out as we hear the Italian side of the story. Follow me. Could you just tell me what Italians like to do during this sort of weather? For us Italians, we love going out and socialising this kind of weather, meeting friends, going to a restaurant, having pizza and ice cream, and just generally chilling out and relaxing. So yeah, that is what we like to do as Italians, as Italian people. Okay, thank you, darling, for that. Thank you, dear. Now, I just found a man here. His name is Gilberto. And Gilberto, tell me how Italians cope with this sort of weather. Well, Italy is one of the hottest countries in Europe, and also in the EU. And what Italians especially try to do to cope with this sort of weather, like the one that we've got at the moment in terms of those weather patterns, is have sprays in public areas, so like water sprays and fans in restaurants, shops, and pharmaceutical places like pharmacies and all those sort of places. And also we tend to carry a lot of fans as well. So yeah, and also wear cool clothing. And we do try to get as much out of sun as possible, though sometimes we do like to go in. That's Italian for you. Okay, you're welcome, mate. Thank you very much for that. And finally, we come to you, Maria Presento. Thank you for joining us on this special feature for our viewers here at Focus on Europe called County Reviews. Now, we're actually quite lucky, because Maria here is an Italian meteorologist for one of Italy's big leading television companies, and so she knows her stuff. And so, Maria, is it okay if I ask you, what advice would you give to people, mainly, people who are visiting, like, European countries, like Italy, from outside of Europe, maybe, if they're from Asia or Africa or America or wherever, and what advice would you sort of, give them in terms of staying safe and healthy whilst being out in this sort of weather in this country and indeed the continent? Well, I think people should consider and take into account and be cautious of these current weather conditions that we're seeing across the country and Europe. And I think it's really beneficial, to everyone, but especially to people outside of Italy, so like tourists from other parts of the world, to follow this advice. And advice I and everyone else, I think, would agree to give would be, wear sensible clothing, for example, light clothing, loads of sun cream, drink loads because you can be very thirsty, and also you can get dehydrated and dehydrated if you don't drink enough. So that is very important. And eat sensibly. And also, go into the shade. Don't be in the sun all the time. Just go in the shade to be as cool as you can. So that is the advice I'd give to those people that I just mentioned, and pretty much to everyone. Thank you, Maria, my love. So we have found out that Italians love going out and have a nice meal at a restaurant with some lovely authentic dishes and of course some gelato during this sort of weather, and maybe playing some outdoor sports and games as well. We have also discovered Italians use air conditioning and sprays in public places and places of public interest, fans and plenty of sun cream. as it is one of Europe's hottest countries due to the Mediterranean climate. I've heard some good advice as well. But here's a daily reminder of our last week from us here at both the Europe TV, Channel 2 News and Channel 2 Weather. First of all, put suitable clothing on according to the weather conditions. For example, light clothing. Secondly, put sun cream on all over your body. This keeps your skin healthy and gives you less chance to have things such as skin cancer. And thirdly, loads of water and eat well. Then finally, fan yourself and try to keep as cool as you can as possible. And don't forget, for more information on how to cope with current European heroes, please do visit channel2.com/weather. That's about all you've got time for today's feature and on the series of our special features on European heatwave. Keeping safe but cool. From me, Roberto Garabia, thank you for watching, and arrivederci. Alright, let's see ice cream now. Roberto Garabia with a special look and indeed insight into how Italy is coping with that ever-ongoing continental heatwave. Well, by the way, you can get more on the ever-ongoing European heatwave by looking at our pages on our website about it. That's at channel2.com/news. Right, time for the sport now with Eric. Hello, Eric.
Hello, Adam.
What's Cup today? I reckon Women's World Cup, according to my notes that I've got here.
Haha, yes, exactly. Yes, hello everyone, and Adam's right. Germany have suffered a shock World Cup exit in the Women's World Cup, with Sweden scoring 2-1. Here's a few highlights, just in case you missed it.
Here's Jakobsen, the scorer, towards Rolfo, the save, is surely, and it's there! And it's Stina Blackstenius with her second goal in as many matches. Stina Blackstenius of Linköping looks as though she couldn't quite believe she had so much space right in front of goal. Hegering.
An epic game by Sweden there in the Women's World Cup. Now, like me, if you're Austrian and if you have a passion for the Grand Prix, then you must have watched the Austrian Grand Prix this weekend. Let's get some results and highlights, because in first place, with a fastest lap of 1 hour, 7 minutes and 0.475 milliseconds, I think that is Max Verstappen. In second place, Charles Leclerc, with the fastest lap of 1 hour, 7 minutes, 0.994 seconds or milliseconds. And in third place, Valtteri Bottas, with a fastest lap of 1 hour, 8 minutes and 0.565 seconds or milliseconds. Well, here's some highlights for you now.
It's lights out, away we go. Verstappen gets an awful start. He's already been bypassed by the two Mercedes, Norris and Raikkonen as well. Leclerc leads from Bottas, then comes Lando Norris ahead of Lewis Hamilton. Positions on the first lap today than his previous 14 races combined, as here goes the Ferrari of Sebastian Vettel squeezing past Lando Norris into turn 3, but Norris is going to come back at Sebastian Vettel now towards turn 4, and he's got DRS assistance as well. Is the McLaren going to go round the outside of the Ferrari into turn 4? Vettel breaks just that fraction later. Look, Verstappen's a lot closer on this particular occasion.
I need more power, mate. Just scripting a lot.
Old message, because I think he's got enough power, and he has. Into turn 3. That'll please the Dutch crowd here. Verstappen has Raikkonen in his sights towards turn 3. Under braking. Who's prepared to break the latest? Max Verstappen is. Kimi Raikkonen didn't put up much of a fight for the second lap running. Verstappen makes a place at turn 3. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 victories in Formula 1 for Max Verstappen, and this, number 6, was very much the best. Verstappen wins the Austrian Grand Prix.
And finally, it's the moment you have all been waiting for. Yes, that's right, Wimbledon officially starts today. And it has already started actually. Here's the score so far, as you can see. Very good games and plenty more to come. And that is all your sports for now. And by the way, how many Wimbledon matches have you seen so far?
I have in fact watched one,
Eric, but only one, I'm afraid. And I watched it, funny enough, this lunchtime just now before I came to work. And who are you rooting for? Oh, Kyle Edmonds, of course. How about yourself? Oh, Dominic Thiem, of course. I thought so. Thank you, Eric. Now, staying with sports, or something sportish, because have a listen to this.
He makes me really proud what he has achieved, and he really makes our family complete. And he's a good brother, and he is also a very good son.
I am Trym. This is my Arctic life.
When we realized that we have got a child, he was also our first child. In that time of our life, it was really dark. We felt like we didn't succeed being parents, we had failed. I even said to my husband, okay, if we leave now, I will take care of this. Everything was very dark. It's very boring for him because he doesn't speak so much English. Vad är det som är bästa chokladkaka och svömning då?
Chocolate
Oh, chocolate cake. He's very free here. Everybody knows him, and he enjoys that he can be a part of a normal, regular swim team.
England,
Oh,
London
to London. You would like to go
og
to
USA
London. And United States. Okay.
og Norge,
You are already in Norway, but yeah.
Japan,
Japan. There's a lot of different places
South
you
Korea.
want to go. South Korea, okay.
Thailand,
Thailand.
Australia,
Australia. Oh, we are going-
Antarktis.
Antarctis. We are going to travel a lot. Liker du best kulde, eller liker du når det er varmt?
Varmt.
He prefers the warm. We like the cold as well.
I like cold
Ja.
way.
Vi liker kulde også.
You used to put the gunsphere in the bag.
It's a kind of a little different world to have a different child, but it gives so much positive different things. So I would say that just think of it as a normal child, because if you doesn't put any limits on it, there aren't any limits. It will give you so much back, so much back.
And yes, good luck to him. Well, I'm afraid that's all we've got time for on today's Focus on Europe. Thank you for watching. I've been Adam Richards.